Winterfell will have twice the air force that the Night King does. They have defensive fortifications. They have some excellent trebuchet siege artillery. They've got an elite spear and shield infantry army, and they have the best leadership any army could ask for. There's a lot of tension between these characters, though, and hopefully orders will be carried out in a smooth and synergistic way. They also have a wizard who may be able to blunt any direct attack the Night King himself tries to make. Last but not least, they have Dragon Glass. Characters will die in Episode 3, no doubt, but I predict a tactical victory for Winterfell, although it will probably come at a very high price. There was plenty of foreshadowing in Episode 2 that everyone was going to die, but I think Tyrion got it right. Right, so just looking at the battlefield, back in the back here we have the army of the dead, 100,000 dead men. And if we come into the foreground here, we see Winterfell, we see the stone walls of Winterfell, we see the defensive fortifications that they had built, I think recently. We don't really see any of the trenches, but we know there's trenches out there. We know there's siege artillery out there as well. And looks like they have some roads here. Now this is the north, or this is facing the north, I presume. So this would be the north wall of Winterfell. It looks like it has one large gate in the middle of the city, or of the castle. And coming up here to the left flank, we know that Brienne of Tarth is going to be fighting in the left flank. Sir Brienne of Tarth, I should say. But this sigil right here is actually Jon Arryn's army. So these would be the Knights of the Vale. And I'm not sure if Sir Brienne is going to be leading the Jon Arryn's army, or if she's going to be here leading this Stark army. And this is going to be infantry back here. It looks like we've got about 12 battalion sized, probably battalion sized groups of infantry. And I don't know if they're going to be spear army or sword army, but we could say maybe that she's got 6 battalions of spears and 6 battalions of swords, or it might be just 12 battalions of spears. I'm not really sure, but I would presume that Brienne is probably going to be commanding these Stark armies behind the Knights of the Vale, or she might be up here. Now, I don't know if she's going to have a horse or not either. I hope that they give her a horse, that she at least has that. Even if she's commanding these infantry forces back here in the back, I hope, and that's what I think she's going to do, along with Jaime will be here too. I hope that they at least manage to give her a horse. Now, I haven't seen her on a horse in the last couple of episodes, or at least the last episode. She's always been on her feet. In the center of the army is just dominated by Daenerys' forces, which is this sigil right here. This is the Targaryen sigil. And so all of these round pieces back here, I have to presume, are the Unsullied, which are just awesome infantry to have in this kind of a scenario, especially probably when you're fighting against the army of the dead, which are just going to keep pushing and pushing and trying to plow through you. And having a good spear army is exactly what you want, to just be able to not just hold them back, but to be able to safely kill them at a distance. And I think the Unsullied are probably the most elite spear infantry in the world, I would think. I mean, they're way up there anyway. And so I presume Grey Worm is going to be situated out here somewhere, and then he'll have a couple of lieutenants, and then they will keep this center force together here. Up in the front here, I'm guessing that this is the Dothraki forces here. That looks somewhat like a horse. Jon Snow might not be on the battlefield at all down here on the ground, or he might. I'm not really sure. It depends on how they decide to deploy. Probably not, which would require the Stark armies to have another commander, and it's debatable who who that's going to be. So we probably have the spear infantry in the front, making a spear wall. And since these are kind of separated back out, these are probably swordsmen over here. And in the very back, you've got the Stark cavalry. As for who's gonna die, in episode 3, I think the people that are the most likely to die, if I had to guess, it's gonna be Gendry, and unfortunately, Sir Brienne. It will be a bittersweet moment for Brienne if she does die, because she's dying doing what she loves. She was already the best knight in the Seven Kingdoms, and now she's officially a knight of the Seven Kingdoms. But you know, the oaths that she had to take in front of Jaime Lannister to be knighted, she had already knocked all 3 of those oaths out of the park, probably better than anybody else. So just in, you know, total package. But hopefully I'm wrong about that. I think Grey Worm could definitely be killed. I know Brienne talked about the left flank, but looking at that left flank, it looks like they're going to be flanked by the dead, and they're not going to be flanking anybody. Although a good tactic for the dragons would probably be to keep an eye on Viserion at all times, know where Viserion is, so they'll know how far away he is, whether they need to take evasive action, defensive action against him, or whether they should go on the attack and try to gang up on him 2-on-1 and kill him. And on a last note, I think that the Night King army is going to pull back as the sun comes up. So there will only be an initial encounter, or it'll be a skirmish where the dead will kind of press in on Winterfell and kind of get a feel for it, test it out. And then I think the sun's going to start to come up, and I think that the army of the dead is going to pull back, and they're just going to wait it out. They're probably just going to be sitting there across the ice, staring back at each other throughout the day, and then they're going to wait until nightfall happens again on the following day, and then they're going to attack again. So I don't know. So there'll be like 2 big battles. Basically, there'll be a smaller, shorter battle, which will be the initial fight, and then a day will pass, and then the next night, when the sun goes down, there'll be the second battle, which will be the major and decisive battle. So another thing I see as a possibility is that Viserion is going to kill Rhaegal, and then, you know, whether Jon has anything to do with that or not, even if it's an accident, even if it's a total accident, and he just, you know, I don't know what could, I mean, a million different things could happen in battle, and you know, Jon was almost falling off of his back when they were just flying around, just having fun. So if they're in combat and just the stress of combat, I don't know if Jon has enough experience on the dragon to know what to do in every situation. So if Rhaegal dies, and if Jon has anything to do with it, even accidentally, I think Daenerys is going to grow to resent him even more, that she lost another one of her children, and it'll just be Drogon left to take it from there. In fact, I think maybe Drogon will kill the ice dragon, Viserion, and then we'll just have one dragon left. It'll be the last dragon, basically, and oh my God, the tension is just going to be through the roof if that were to happen. So those are my predictions there, and I think Bran is going to be able to stop the Night King. I think he's going to keep him at bay. If not, they've had encounters together already before. I think they're going to have another encounter again. I think it's going to be the most violent encounter that they've had so far, the most aggressive one that we've seen so far. And I think that's probably coming next episode too. I think we'll definitely see that in episode 3. So we'll wait. Let's see what happens. Let's hope for a victory. I think we're going to get at least a stalemate. Take care, everybody.